In this video we will talk about the Kindle Basic 2022 that I bought recently, and we will also compare it to the Kobo Clara 2e, so hang on. So here we have the Kindle Basic in the middle, and we have the Kobo Clara 2e here, and here is my Kindle Paperwhite Signature Edition, also from 2022, the latest Kindle Paperwhite, and the latest Kindle Basic, and the latest Kobo Clara 2e. So let's begin with the two small ones here. The Kindle Basic is very plastic in the hand, unfortunately, even on the back side, compared to the Kindle Paperwhite that has a more rubberized backside and feels much better in the hand. But the backside of this gets very dirty fast, but the front on it feels very good because of the edges go over and have some rubberized edges on this one. But the Kindle Basic doesn't have that, and as you can see, the screen is sunken, so you have a sharp edge here too, but not as big as on the Kobo Clara 2e. This screen is much more sunken and a very sharp edge too. But the biggest problem with the Kindle Basic, I think, is the backside. It feels very slippery and plastic. But if you have this, I can recommend you to use the fabric slip cover for it instead of having it naked. So use this slip cover and it feels much better in your hand. And another thing that is not so good is that it has a power button on the bottom, as you can see there, exactly as on the Paperwhite. Not a good placement, because I usually hold my devices like this with a finger at the bottom, and sometimes you can get to the power button and the screen, the device goes to sleep when doing that, so that's not good. In that, the Kobo Clara 2e is much better because it has a power button at the top. But the Kobo Clara 2e is very plastic on the backside too, so feels almost the same kind of plastic as on the Kindle Basic. So, but this has no design on the backside, so it's more slippery than the Kobo Clara 2e because it has some fish bone design here, so a bit better for the slipperiness. So now we should compare these two to the size, I think. As you can see here, the Kobo Clara 2e has a bit bigger bezels than the Kindle Basic. And I love bezels because I want to hold my devices like this, so bigger bezels is better for e-reader. So on the Kindle Basic it's a bit smaller bezels, so in that the Kobo Clara 2e is much better. But because of the big bezels on the Kobo Clara 2e, the Kobo Clara 2e is a bit wider in design, and as you can see, it's a bit wider on the side. It's actually hard to see on video, but it actually is. It's wider. Maybe you can see now it's wider, and that is because of the bigger bezel. So if you want the smallest possible e-reader with the same screen size, 6-inch display as both these has, they have exact identical size of the screen, but the Kindle Basic is a bit smaller because of it's not as wide as the Kobo Clara 2e. Still not too wide though, so you can have a small device with the Kobo Clara 2e too. But the Kobo Clara 2e feels heavier also than the Kindle Basic. And I think the weight of a e-reader is very, very important, because you will hold it for a longer time when reading. So the lighter the e-reader is, the better it is. So the Kindle Basic is lighter than the Kobo Clara 2e, and also not as wide. And I have no measurement and so on, but the Kindle Basic feels thinner in the hand than the Kobo Clara 2e. So that is also something I think is greater, because the Kindle Basic feels much thinner in the hand. Maybe that is just an illusion, because the backside is rounded, as you can see. Not as much as on the Kobo Clara 2e. It's not so rounded. So maybe that is just an illusion, but it is thinner, as you can see here. Maybe not on video, but I can feel it's thinner. So all in all, the Kobo Clara 2e is a bit bigger and also a bit heavier than the Kindle Basic. So when it comes to size, it actually feels much different to the Kobo Clara 2e, because it's thinner and lighter. So I think the Kindle Basic wins when it comes to a smaller and lighter device. When it comes to sleep covers, then the fabric cover that comes for the Kindle Basic, it's much easier to take off and also mount, as you see here. The front of the cover is hard, so you can't have some angles and have it as a stand and so on. You use it as a sleep cover, so you can have it like this. With the Kobo Clara 2e, we have a sleep cover that is more fiddly on the front, because you could have it in different angles and so on. And it's much harder to take this e-reader out of the case. Very hard, actually. If that's bad or good, I don't know, because it also protects it better, I guess. But as you can see, this cover is more fiddly, because you should be able to have it as a stand and so on, and you can't do that with a sleep cover for the Kindle Basic. But I never use it as a stand. That's the problem. So the fabric cover on the Kindle I often use like a stand like this when holding it, to have it easier in the hand, so I can hold it like this on my knee, for example, and having this as a stand to get rid of the weight of the device. I can have it like this when reading on my knee, for example, or a table like this. So then I can use my hand to go forward and back in the book. So that works great. I can also hold it like this when reading. Very easy. So the fabric cover is great to have for the Kindle Basic. And as I said, the back side of it feels much better with the cover on than without. And it doesn't get so heavy with the cover on. I feel it's quite light still, compared to the Kobo Clara 2e that gets really heavy with this cover on. This is more leathery cover, so maybe that's why it's much more heavier, and the whole device gets really heavy when this cover is on. But I really love the leather cover on this. The feel of the leather here is very nice in the hand. I love that. And on the Kobo Clara 2e you can of course read like this, as I could with the Kindle fabric cover if I want. Quite easy. But it's harder to do, have it like a stand like this, because it's so fiddly. I can't use it to stabilize the reader like I could with this, as you saw here. I could do it like this. So, 2 different kinds of covers actually. One in leather that should be used like a stand, like so, but I never ever do that. So I would love to have this as sturdy as it is on the Kindle actually, if I could choose that. But it isn't. But I would love to have this in leather, exactly as the Kobo Clara 2e has, instead of this fabric, texturized fabric cover. I would really love to have this as a leather instead. So, and the devices itself, this Kindle Basic doesn't have any night light, so you only have brightness, so you can't remove the blue light on this device. You can only have brightness, and you have to do it manually up and down here, the brightness. That's a bit of a drawback compared to both the Paperwhite and the Kobo Clara 2e. The Kobo Clara 2e has much more settings for that. We have, as you see here, you have brightness and you have natural light. You can have natural light auto and then set a bedtime. So you have this move up and remove blue light. The longer you read in the night or in the evening. So it is totally automated. Totally automatically change the natural light. That is really, really great on the Kobo. One more thing that the Kindle Basic doesn't have is that you can change the brightness by just moving your finger up and down at the side here. As you see that brightness. Brightness 55, 27, as you see here. You can change that. That's great. But it actually doesn't work as good as it does on my old Kobo Libra H2O. The Kobo Libra H2O is more responsive when doing this. On the Kobo Clara 2e it's not as responsive as it is on the Kobo Libra H2O. That's bad, but still this is much better to change the light than it is on the Kindle Basic, because you need to do like this, the finger down like this, swipe down and then change the brightness here. So every time you want to change, you need to do this and change like this. So it's a 2-step method compared to the Kobo Clara 2e that you just need to raise or lower the light by doing this with a finger. I love that. So that's really great. Another thing that's much better on the Kobo is that if you read Swedish books like I do, because I'm from Sweden, then it has a dictionary for Sweden, for Swedish words. The Kindle doesn't have that on any device, not on the Paperwhite, not on any Kindle device. It only has English, French, German, I think, maybe also Spanish, but no Swedish dictionary whatsoever. I will do a video though on how you can hack it by downloading a Swedish dictionary and sideload that into your Kindle in a coming video, but that dictionary is not by far as good as the built-in on the Kobo for Swedish language. So still, if you sideload that dictionary to your Kindle, it still is not as good as it is on the Kobo. So the Kobo dictionary is much better. So that's a huge drawback for Kindle devices when you live in Sweden and want to read Swedish books. Another thing, of course, that is much better on the Kobo Clara 2e is that on a Kindle you don't have any Swedish books, almost no Swedish books in the Kindle store. You almost only have English books in the store, no Swedish books. So to read Swedish books on the Kindle device, you need to buy them from, for example, Adlibris or Bokus in Sweden and sideload them to your Kindle e-reader, or you can buy them in the Kobo store. I have a video on my channel on how to do that. Buy them on the Kobo store and then remove DRM and sideload them to your Kindle. That is also possible, but that's a hassle to read and buy and read Swedish books on a Kindle. You can't do that directly from the store, sadly. But on a Kobo you can. You have a great Kobo store with a lot of Swedish books. You can buy them immediately from the Kobo store. That's really great. But the Kobo store, the books there is actually much more expensive than it is to buy books, ebooks from Bokus.com or Adlibris.com here in Sweden. So buying books in the Kobo store is easier, yes, but they are more expensive than buying them on the Bokus or Adlibris and then sideload them to your e-reader. So if I buy books cheaper from those two stores, then I need to sideload them onto the Kobo or the Kindle device. And if I sideload those books to the Kobo, they don't sync to any other device, don't sync to my phone, doesn't sync anywhere. So I always need to read them on the device I bought it, sideload it on. So I can't sync where I am and so on. But on a Kindle, if I sideload a book on this, wirelessly even, then I can read it on my Kindle Paperwhite or my iPhone or my iPad too, completely in sync. So the Kindle has a benefit here. If you sideload books to your device, the Kindle is much better than the Kobo because it syncs where you are, and bookmarks, highlights, notes, everything syncs between your devices. And you can sideload wirelessly. A Kobo device is much better if you buy books from the Kobo store. Much better. So that was a bit of my thoughts about these two devices. The screens are almost identical. I think a Kindle device is a bit snappier though, because the UI probably makes the feel of the UI much more snappier when changing pages and so on. Goes much faster than on the Kobo Clara 2e. On the Kobo Clara 2e it feels a bit slower when swiping, for example, than it does on the Kindle. So the feel of a Kindle device is that it's a bit snappier and faster than on a Kobo device, but that is very small margins there, so it's not a problem using a Kobo Clara 2e when it comes to speed, so no problem with that, but there is a small difference. But anyway, both these two are excellent devices, but if you sideload books, I would prefer using Kindle devices, but if you buy books, use Kobo. It's great, actually. So please like this video and please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Okay,